Welcome to Stoic Vivu, where we make ancient wisdom work for your modern life. I'm here to help you build something that no economic crisis, difficult boss, or personal setback can ever take away from you. Unbreakable mental armor. Think about your typical day. You wake up to news that makes your stomach churn. You check your phone and see messages that instantly stress you out. You head to work where deadlines pile up, people disappoint you, and problems seem to multiply faster than you can solve them. By evening, you're mentally exhausted, emotionally drained, and wondering why life feels like such a constant battle. Here's what the ancient Stoics understood that most people today completely miss. You're fighting these battles without any protection. You're walking into life's arena completely defenseless, letting every external event, every other person's mood, every unexpected problem hit you directly in the chest. No wonder you feel overwhelmed. But what if I told you that over 2,000 years ago, some of the wisest people who ever lived discovered a way to build mental armor so strong that nothing could penetrate it? What if Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the Roman Empire during plagues and wars, Epictetus, who went from slave to one of history's greatest teachers, and Seneca, who advised emperors and survived political chaos, had developed specific techniques that could make you truly unstoppable? That's exactly what they did. These weren't just philosophers sitting in comfortable libraries theorizing about life. Marcus Aurelius wrote his most profound insights while leading armies and managing an empire during a devastating plague. Epictetus developed his teachings while experiencing the worst that life could throw at someone. Seneca guided Rome through political upheaval and personal betrayals. They tested their wisdom in the real world under the most extreme pressure imaginable. The result? A complete system for building mental armor that protects you from external chaos while making you stronger, more focused, and genuinely unstoppable. Not unstoppable in some fantasy way, but unstoppable in the most practical sense. Nothing that happens around you can knock you off course from becoming the person you're meant to be. Today, you're going to learn their secrets. Not vague philosophical concepts, but specific, actionable techniques that work in your actual life. Whether you're dealing with a difficult relationship, a stressful job, financial pressure, or just the general anxiety of living in our chaotic world, you're about to discover how to forge mental armor that makes you genuinely unshakable. We'll start with the foundation. How to build an energy shield that prevents you from wasting your power on things that don't matter. Then you'll learn the 4 daily questions that forge unbreakable armor, the upgrade that stops every temptation, how warriors train their armor during peaceful times, the secret armor piece most people miss, the armor that grows stronger every day, and finally, your complete mental armor assembly guide. By the end of this journey, you'll have everything you need to walk through life with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing nothing can truly harm you. You'll be mentally unstoppable, just like the ancient Stoics who created these powerful techniques. Let's begin building your armor. 1. The first layer of mental armor: energy shield. You're sitting in your car in downtown Chicago traffic, already 15 minutes late for an important meeting. The radio is blasting news about inflation, your phone keeps buzzing with work emergencies, and the driver next to you just cut you off while texting. You feel your heart rate spike, your jaw clench, and that familiar surge of frustration building in your chest. You're about to spend the next 20 minutes mentally rehearsing angry conversations with your boss about being late, crafting imaginary arguments with that rude driver, and worrying about economic problems you have zero control over. Here's what just happened. you became a victim of energy theft. In the span of 30 seconds, you gave away your most valuable resource to a traffic jam, a news cycle, and a stranger who doesn't even know you exist. The ancient Stoics called this the fundamental mistake that destroys people's lives, and they developed a specific technique to prevent it. Epictetus, who understood energy theft better than anyone because he'd experienced the ultimate loss of control as a slave, taught a revolutionary concept that becomes your first layer of mental armor. He said, "Some things are within our power while others are not. Within our power are our opinion, aim, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever affairs are our own. Outside our power are our body, property, reputation, position, and, in a word, whatever are not properly our own affairs." Think of your daily energy as exactly 100 points that you get to spend however you choose. Every minute you spend angry about traffic costs you energy points. Every hour you worry about things you can't control costs you energy points. Every argument you have in your head with people who aren't even present costs you energy points. But here's the devastating part. Every point you spend on things outside your control is a point your opponents get to use against you. Let me explain what I mean. Imagine you're competing for a promotion at work. You have a colleague who focuses all 100 of her energy points on doing excellent work, building relationships, and improving her skills. Meanwhile, you spend 30 points worrying about office politics you can't control, 20 points being frustrated with company decisions above your pay grade, and 15 points angry about economic conditions affecting your industry. You're entering that promotion competition with only 35 energy points while she has 100. Who do you think wins? Marcus Aurelius understood this principle when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." As Emperor of Rome, he could have spent his energy trying to control plagues, barbarian invasions, and political conspiracies. Instead, he focused his energy exclusively on his responses, his decisions, and his character. That's how he became one of history's most effective leaders while maintaining inner peace during chaos. Your energy shield works like this. Before you react to anything, ask yourself one simple question. Is this within my control? If the answer is no, you immediately redirect that energy towards something you can actually influence. This isn't about becoming passive or uncaring. It's about becoming strategically powerful. Consider this scenario. You're scrolling through social media and see a political post that makes your blood boil. The old you would spend 45 minutes crafting the perfect response, getting into arguments with strangers, and letting that anger ruin your entire evening. The new you, equipped with an energy shield, recognizes this as energy theft and redirects those 45 minutes toward calling a friend, working on a personal project, or learning something valuable. Seneca practiced this energy protection during his time advising Emperor Nero, one of history's most unpredictable rulers. He wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Instead of wasting energy trying to change Nero's volatile personality, Seneca focused on influencing what he could: his own advice, his own behavior, and his own philosophical development. This energy allocation strategy helped him survive and thrive in one of Rome's most dangerous political environments. The beautiful thing about your energy shield is that it gets stronger with practice. Start small. Next time you're stuck in traffic, instead of mentally rehearsing angry speeches, use that time to practice gratitude or plan something positive for your day. When your coworker complains about company policies for the 15th time this week, Instead of joining the complaint session, redirect your energy toward your own work excellence. Here's a practical daily exercise. Keep an energy journal for just 1 week. Every time you catch yourself spending energy on something outside your control, write it down. You'll be amazed at how much mental power you're giving away without realizing it. Traffic, other people's opinions, political developments, celebrity drama, weather complaints, past mistakes you can't change, future scenarios you can't predict. The list of energy thieves is endless. But here's the incredible part. When you stop feeding energy to things outside your control, all that power gets redirected toward things you can actually influence. Your work performance improves because you're fully present. Your relationships get better because you're not mentally distracted by irrelevant frustrations. Your decision-making becomes sharper because your mind isn't cluttered with external noise. The ancient Stoics discovered that this energy shield doesn't just protect you, it makes you genuinely unstoppable. When your competitors are wasting half their energy on things they can't control, and you're investing 100% of your energy on things you can influence, the outcome becomes predictable. You don't win because you're naturally more talented. You win because you're strategically more focused. Ultimately, your energy shield becomes the foundation of all other mental armor. Everything else will build depends on this fundamental protection, keeping your power focused where it can actually create results. This ancient secret transforms you from someone who reacts to everything into someone who responds to what matters. 2. For questions that forge unbreakable armor. You walk into your Manhattan office Monday morning with your coffee, ready to tackle the week ahead. But before you even reach your desk, 3 different colleagues dump their problems on you. Your inbox shows 47 urgent emails that arrived over the weekend, and your phone displays 6 missed calls from your most demanding client. You feel that familiar sensation of your carefully planned day crumbling before 9 a.m. even hits. Most people react to this chaos by diving headfirst into the urgency, jumping from crisis to crisis, feeling increasingly overwhelmed as the day spirals out of control. But what if you had a different approach? What if you had 4 simple questions that could cut through any chaos and forge your mental armor stronger with each passing day? Marcus Aurelius faced mornings far worse than yours. As Emperor of Rome, he woke up to reports of plagues spreading through his empire, barbarian armies threatening his borders, and political conspiracies within his own government. Yet he developed a daily practice that kept him mentally unshakable through every crisis. Each evening, he would reflect on his day using specific questions that transform challenges into wisdom and setbacks into strength. These 4 questions become your daily armor-forging process. They take any experience, no matter how difficult or confusing, and convert it into material that makes you more resilient, more focused, and ultimately unstoppable. The first question, is this in my control? You've already learned about the energy shield, but this question goes deeper than just energy allocation. It's about training your mind to automatically sort every situation into the correct category. When your client screams at you about a deadline they created, this question immediately clarifies your response options. You can't control their emotional state, but you can control your professionalism, your solutions, and your boundaries. This question prevents you from wasting mental energy trying to change unchangeable things while directing your focus toward powerful responses. The second question, is this essential? Seneca, who managed enormous wealth and political responsibilities, understood that most of what feels urgent isn't actually important. He wrote, It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. This question forces you to distinguish between what demands your attention and what deserves your attention. When 3 colleagues dump their problems on you, this question helps you identify which issues actually require your involvement and which are just other people's anxiety disguised as emergencies. You start saying no to non-essential demands, creating space for work that actually matters. The third question might seem dark, but it's incredibly powerful. What's the worst that could realistically happen? This is the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, imagining potential difficulties not to create anxiety, but to build immunity against fear. When you're worried about that client presentation, instead of letting vague dread consume your mental energy, you specifically imagine the worst realistic outcome. Maybe they will reject your proposal. Maybe they're disappointed. Maybe they choose a competitor. Once you've mentally prepared for these possibilities, you can develop backup plans and realize that even the worst-case scenarios are survivable. This question transforms paralyzing worry into productive preparation. The fourth question completes your daily armor forging. Where did I grow today? Marcus Aurelius didn't just review his mistakes. He celebrated his progress. Epictetus said, "Every day I become better and better." This question trains your mind to extract wisdom from every experience, especially difficult ones. When that demanding client pushed your patience to the limit, how did you handle it better than you would have 6 months ago? When those urgent emails threatened to derail your priorities, what did you learn about time management? This question ensures that every challenge contributes to your growing strength rather than depleting your confidence. Here's how these questions work in practice. Let's say you're dealing with a difficult roommate situation in your Brooklyn apartment. They're messy, loud, and consistently late with rent payments. Instead of letting this situation drain your energy day after day, you apply the 4 questions. Is this in my control? You can't control their personality or habits, but you can control your communication, your boundaries, and ultimately your living situation. This clarifies where to invest your energy. Is this essential? Is daily frustration about dirty dishes worth your mental bandwidth? This question helps you decide which battles deserve your attention and which issues you can simply manage around. What's the worst that could realistically happen? Maybe you'll need to find a new roommate or move to a different apartment. Once you've mentally prepared for these possibilities, the situation feels less overwhelming and more manageable. Where did I grow today? Perhaps you're learning to communicate more directly, set better boundaries, or recognize red flags in future living situations. This question transforms a frustrating experience into valuable life education. The power of these 4 questions isn't just in asking them, it's in asking them consistently. Marcus Aurelius used this reflection practice for decades, gradually building mental armor so strong that even the collapse of his empire couldn't break his inner peace. Seneca practiced daily self-examination throughout his entire career, enabling him to maintain wisdom and effectiveness through the political chaos that destroyed other leaders. Start tonight. Before you go to sleep, spend 5 minutes reviewing your day through these 4 questions. Don't judge yourself harshly. Just honestly examine what happened and what you learned. Within a week, you'll notice your mind automatically starting to ask these questions during difficult moments. Within a month, this process becomes an automatic part of how you handle challenges. These questions forge unbreakable armor because they transform every experience into material that strengthens you. Bad days become learning opportunities. Difficult people become teachers of patience and boundary setting. Unexpected problems become practice sessions for creative problem solving. Nothing can truly harm you when every experience contributes to your growing wisdom and strength. In essence, these 4 daily questions ensure that life never just happens to you. It always happens for you, constantly forging your mental armor stronger and making you genuinely unstoppable. 3. The armor upgrade that stops every temptation. You're walking through Times Square at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, surrounded by the sensory overload of flashing billboards, street performers, and endless crowds. Your phone buzzes with a social media notification promising instant entertainment. A food truck advertises comfort food that smells incredible but doesn't align with your health goals. A street vendor calls out about a once-in-a-lifetime deal on something you definitely don't need. Your mind starts racing between checking that notification, grabbing that food, and investigating that deal. You feel pulled in 12 different directions simultaneously. Welcome to the modern battlefield where your mental armor faces its greatest test: the constant assault of temptation. Every day, you're bombarded with thousands of micro-decisions that either strengthen your character or chip away at your self-control. Most people fight these battles individually, winning some and losing others, never realizing they're missing the most powerful upgrade to their mental armor. The ancient Stoics discovered something remarkable about temptation. It's not actually about the external thing trying to tempt you. It's about an internal system that either protects you automatically or leaves you vulnerable to every passing impulse. They called this system temperance, but we can think of it as your armor's self-control upgrade. Epictetus, who faced temptations that could have destroyed his hard-won freedom, taught that all of life comes down to 2 simple actions: persist and resist. Some things you must do even when they're difficult. Other things you must stop doing even when they're appealing. He said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This wasn't about living in poverty. It was about installing an internal system that makes you immune to manipulation by external desires. Here's how the armor upgrade works in practice. Imagine your self-control as a sophisticated defense system with 2 components: automatic resistance and intentional persistence. When properly calibrated, this system doesn't require willpower for everyday decisions. It runs in the background, protecting you from countless small compromises that would otherwise weaken your armor over time. Let's start with automatic resistance. You're scrolling through your phone late at night, knowing you should sleep but getting pulled into an endless stream of videos and posts. The old approach relies on willpower, forcing yourself to put the phone down through sheer mental effort. But willpower is a limited resource that gets depleted throughout the day. By evening, you're fighting this battle with depleted ammunition. The armor upgrade creates automatic resistance by pre-deciding your responses to common temptations. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I have to go to work as a human being.'" He wasn't relying on morning motivation. He had pre-programmed his response to the temptation of staying comfortable. Set the scene: you're a software developer working from your Seattle apartment. Every morning, you face the temptation to check email immediately upon waking, which inevitably leads to an hour of reactive responses that hijack your entire day. Instead of fighting this battle daily, you pre-decide, "I will not check email until after I've exercised and eaten breakfast." This isn't a rule you have to remember and enforce. It becomes an automatic part of your morning armor. The second component is intentional persistence. This is your ability to continue beneficial actions even when motivation disappears. Seneca practiced this when he deliberately chose discomfort to strengthen his resilience. He would occasionally sleep on the floor, eat simple food, and walk in cold weather, not because he enjoyed suffering, but because he was training his persistence muscles. Consider this scenario. You're working toward a promotion at your consulting firm in downtown Dallas. Every day after work, you face the choice between studying for professional certifications or watching Netflix. The temptation isn't just about immediate pleasure. It's about avoiding the mental effort required for growth. Your persistence system kicks in with a pre-decided commitment. I will study for 30 minutes before any entertainment. This isn't about perfect performance. It's about consistent advancement despite fluctuating motivation. The beautiful thing about this armor upgrade is that it gets stronger through use. Every time you resist a destructive temptation or persist in a beneficial action, you're literally rewiring your brain's default responses. Neuroscience confirms what the Stoics understood intuitively. Repeated choices create automatic patterns that eventually require no conscious effort. Here's a practical installation process for your armor upgrade. First, identify your 3 most common temptations. Maybe it's checking social media during work hours, ordering expensive takeout when you're stressed, or staying up late binge-watching shows. For each temptation, create a pre-decided response that requires no willpower in the moment. When I feel the urge to check social media at work, I will instead drink water and review my daily priorities. Second, identify 3 beneficial actions you want to make automatic. Perhaps it's daily exercise, reading for professional development, or calling family members regularly. For each action, create environmental cues and remove friction. If you want to exercise daily, lay out your workout clothes the night before and schedule it like an unmovable appointment. Epictetus taught his students that self-discipline is the foundation of all other virtues. You can't be courageous if you're controlled by fear. You can't be just if you're driven by selfish impulses. You can't be wise if you're distracted by every passing desire. But when you install this armor upgrade, everything else becomes possible. The most powerful part of this system is that it frees you from decision fatigue. When your responses to common temptations are pre-programmed, you save enormous mental energy for important decisions. Instead of fighting the same battles every day, you can focus your willpower on novel challenges and significant opportunities. Marcus Aurelius understood that self-control isn't about depriving yourself of good things. It's about becoming someone who naturally chooses what's genuinely good over what merely appears good in the moment. When your armor includes this upgrade, temptations lose their power over you, not because you're constantly fighting them, but because you've evolved beyond needing to fight them. Therefore, this armor upgrade transforms you from someone who occasionally resists temptation through willpower into someone who automatically chooses what serves your highest good. You become genuinely unstoppable because nothing can derail you from the path you've chosen to walk. 4. How warriors train armor in peaceful times. You're sitting at your Denver office on a perfectly ordinary Wednesday afternoon. Your projects are on track, your relationships are stable, your finances are manageable, and your health is good. Life feels comfortable, predictable, even peaceful. This is exactly when most people let their guard down, stop growing, and leave themselves completely unprepared for the inevitable storms that life will throw their way. But you're not most people. You understand something that separates true warriors from casual survivors. The most important training happens when you don't need it yet. The ancient Stoics knew that comfort is the enemy of preparedness, and they developed specific techniques for building mental armor during calm periods so they'd be unbreakable when chaos returned. Epictetus said, "Every art and every faculty contemplates certain primary objects." He was talking about how soldiers train in peacetime, doctors practice procedures on healthy patients, and musicians rehearse scales when they're not performing. The art of mental resilience requires the same approach. Deliberate practice during low-stakes moments that prepares you for high-stakes challenges. Think about your life right now. What's the worst thing that could realistically happen in the next 12 months? Maybe you could lose your job, face a serious health issue, experience a relationship crisis, or deal with a family emergency. Most people avoid thinking about these possibilities because they find it depressing or anxiety-provoking. But that's exactly backwards. The time to prepare your mind for these challenges is now, while you have the mental space and emotional stability to develop effective responses. Marcus Aurelius practiced what the Stoics called premeditatio malorum, deliberately imagining potential difficulties not to create worry, but to build immunity against fear. Each morning, he would mentally rehearse losing his position, facing betrayal, or dealing with unexpected death. This wasn't pessimistic thinking, it was strategic preparation. When these challenges actually occurred, he was mentally ready because he'd already processed them hundreds of times. Here's how this training works in your modern life. Let's say you're a marketing manager at a tech startup in Austin. Business is booming, your team loves you, and your job feels secure. This is the perfect time to mentally prepare for less favorable scenarios. What would you do if the company had to make layoffs? How would you respond if a major client canceled their contract? What's your plan if a new manager joins who didn't appreciate your work style? You're not creating these problems or inviting them into your life. You're simply acknowledging that uncertainty is the only certainty, and mental warriors prepare for uncertainty during peaceful times. Spend 10 minutes each week imagining these scenarios and developing response strategies. Not panicked, anxious worrying, but calm, strategic planning. Seneca took this training even further with deliberate discomfort exercises. He would occasionally sleep on the floor, eat simple food, wear basic clothes, and walk in harsh weather. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" He was building resilience muscles through voluntary hardship so that involuntary hardship couldn't break him. Consider this scenario. You're living comfortably in your San Francisco apartment with all the modern conveniences you've grown accustomed to. Your armor training might involve occasionally taking cold showers, walking instead of using rideshare apps, eating simple meals instead of ordering expensive takeout, or sleeping without your usual comfort items. These aren't punishments. They're strength-building exercises that expand your comfort zone and reduce your dependence on external circumstances for internal peace. The most powerful aspect of this training is developing what Stoics called preferred indifference, learning to enjoy good things without becoming attached to them. You can appreciate your comfortable lifestyle while remaining mentally prepared to maintain your happiness without it. This isn't about becoming pessimistic or ungrateful. It's about building the kind of inner strength that makes you truly unstoppable. Here's a practical weekly training schedule for peaceful times. Monday, spend 5 minutes imagining a professional challenge and mentally rehearsing your response. Tuesday, practice voluntary discomfort for 30 minutes, like taking a cold shower or walking somewhere instead of driving. Wednesday, review your dependencies and identify what you think you need that you could actually live without. Thursday, practice gratitude while simultaneously imagining loss, appreciating what you have, while mentally preparing to be okay without it. Friday, reflect on a past difficulty you overcame and extract lessons that apply to future challenges. The beautiful thing about this training is that it makes peaceful times even more enjoyable. When you know you're prepared for adversity, you can fully relax into good times without the underlying anxiety that comes from feeling unprepared. You're not constantly worried about losing what you have because you've already mentally practiced being okay without it. Bill Bradley, the former NBA player and senator, captured this principle perfectly when he said, "When you are not practicing, remember that someone somewhere is practicing, and when you meet him, he will win." The same logic applies to mental resilience. While most people coast during comfortable periods, you're strengthening your armor, expanding your capabilities, and preparing for challenges that others will find overwhelming. Epictetus experienced this training in the most extreme way possible. As a slave, he was forced to develop mental strength that didn't depend on external circumstances. But he chose to continue that training even after gaining his freedom, understanding that voluntary preparation prevents involuntary suffering. Your peaceful times are not accidents or permanent conditions. They're training opportunities. Every day that life isn't testing you is a day you can test yourself. Every moment of stability is a chance to build the mental armor that will serve you when stability disappears. This warrior training transforms you from someone who hopes nothing bad will happen into someone who knows they can handle whatever does happen. You become genuinely unstoppable not because you avoid difficulties, but because you've prepared so thoroughly that difficulties become opportunities to demonstrate your strength. Clearly, then, the time to forge unbreakable armor isn't during the battle. It's during the calm before the storm, when you have the clarity and resources to build something truly powerful. 5. The secret armor piece most people miss. You're in the middle of a heated argument with your partner about money in your Phoenix apartment. They just accused you of being irresponsible with the credit card, and you feel that familiar surge of defensive anger rising in your chest. Your mind immediately starts generating counterattacks. What about that expensive purchase you made last month? Your heart rate spikes, your face flushes, and you're about to fire back with something you'll probably regret later. But then something extraordinary happens. For just a split second, you step outside of yourself and observe what's occurring. You notice your emotional reaction, recognize the defensive thoughts forming, and realize you have a choice about how to respond. That split second of awareness changes everything. Instead of escalating the conflict, you take a breath and say, "You're right that we need to talk about our spending. Can we approach this as a team problem rather than a blame problem? What just happened?" You accessed the secret armor piece that most people never develop, the ability to think about your own thinking. The ancient Stoics called this metacognition, and they understood it as the foundation of all wisdom and the source of genuine freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But what does having power over your mind actually mean in practice? It means developing the ability to observe your thoughts, emotions, and reactions as they occur, rather than being completely controlled by them. This isn't about suppressing feelings or denying emotions. It's about creating space between stimulus and response where conscious choice becomes possible. Most people live their entire lives without ever developing this awareness. They experience thoughts and immediately believe them. They feel emotions and automatically act on them. They have reactions and assume those reactions represent reality. But what if you could step back and examine these mental processes as they happen? What if you could think about what you're thinking while you're thinking it? Epictetus, who developed extraordinary self-awareness despite experiencing the worst that life could offer, taught that we become enslaved not by external circumstances, but by our unexamined responses to those circumstances. He said, "It's not the events that disturb people, it's their judgments about them." The secret armor piece allows you to examine those judgments before they control your behavior. Here's how this works in everyday situations. Imagine you're walking into a client meeting at your company's downtown Los Angeles office. As you enter the conference room, you notice the client seems cold and distracted, barely acknowledging your greeting. Immediately, your mind starts creating stories. They're unhappy with our work. This meeting is going to go badly. Maybe they're planning to fire us. Without the secret armor piece, you would enter the meeting already defensive, anxious, and off balance. But with metacognitive awareness, you catch these thoughts as they form and recognize them for what they are: interpretations, not facts. You think to yourself, "I notice I'm creating a negative story based on very limited information. Let me focus on delivering value rather than managing imaginary problems." This awareness doesn't eliminate the initial thoughts and emotions. It creates a choice about how much power to give them. You can acknowledge that your mind is doing what minds do, trying to predict and prepare for potential threats, while choosing not to let those predictions dictate your performance. Seneca practiced this secret armor daily through what he called the evening review. Each night, he would examine his thoughts, emotions, and actions from the day, not to judge himself harshly but to understand his mental patterns better. He wrote, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine the whole day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by." Here's a practical way to develop this armor piece. Start by setting 3 random alarms throughout your day. When each alarm goes off, pause and ask yourself, what was I just thinking? What was I feeling? What was I about to do? Don't judge these observations. Just notice them. You're training your mind to step back and observe itself in action. Let's say you're scrolling through social media during your lunch break and one of your alarms goes off. You might notice, "I was thinking about how much better everyone else's life looks compared to mine. I was feeling inadequate and slightly depressed. I was about to keep scrolling to distract myself from these feelings." This awareness gives you the power to make a different choice. Close the app, go for a walk, or call a friend instead. The transformation that comes from developing this secret armor piece is profound. You stop being a victim of your automatic reactions and become the conscious director of your responses. Road rage becomes impossible when you can observe anger arising and choose not to feed it. Anxiety loses its grip when you can recognize worried thoughts as mental events rather than accurate predictions. Interpersonal conflicts decrease dramatically when you can pause between feeling triggered and responding destructively. Marcus Aurelius used this awareness to maintain wisdom and effectiveness while leading an empire during multiple crises. Imagine the pressure he faced: military threats, political conspiracies, economic challenges, family problems, and personal health issues. Yet his writings reveal a man who could step back from immediate emotional reactions and choose responses based on virtue and wisdom rather than impulse and fear. The secret armor piece also reveals something wonderful. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes your thoughts. This distinction is liberation itself. When you realize that you can watch your mind create stories, judgments, and reactions, you understand that you don't have to believe everything you think or follow every emotional impulse. Start developing this armor tonight. Before you fall asleep, spend 5 minutes reviewing your day with curious awareness rather than harsh judgment. What thoughts dominated your mind? What emotions arose most frequently? What reactions felt automatic versus conscious? This isn't about changing everything immediately. It's about building the awareness that makes change possible. This secret armor piece transforms you from someone who gets hijacked by thoughts and emotions into someone who can choose their responses consciously. You become genuinely unstoppable because no internal storm can knock you off course when you can observe the storm without being consumed by it. In essence, this metacognitive awareness becomes the command center of your mental armor, ensuring that all other defensive systems work in harmony rather than fighting against each other automatically. 6. The armor that grows stronger every day. You're sitting in your Miami apartment after what most people would consider a disappointing day. The presentation you'd prepared for weeks didn't go as planned, your boss gave the promotion to someone else, and the investment you'd been excited about lost money. You scroll through social media and see former classmates celebrating new jobs, exotic vacations, and perfect relationships. The voice in your head starts its familiar routine. Everyone else is moving forward while you're stuck. You're falling behind. Maybe you're just not cut out for success. This is the moment when most people's mental armor cracks. They start measuring their worth against external scorecards, seeking validation from circumstances they can't control, and tying their happiness to outcomes that may or may not happen. But what if I told you there's a type of armor that actually gets stronger during these exact moments? A protection system that feeds on disappointment, grows through setbacks, and becomes more powerful every single day, regardless of what's happening around you? The ancient Stoics discovered something revolutionary about human happiness. It doesn't come from getting what you want from the world. It comes from becoming who you're meant to be, regardless of what the world gives you. Epictetus, who experienced slavery, exile, and physical disability, said something that changed everything. I delight in my own improvement day to day. His joy wasn't dependent on external circumstances improving. It was based on internal growth that no one could take away. This armor works differently from everything else we've discussed. While other defenses protect you from external attacks, this armor actually transforms attacks into fuel for growth. Every challenge becomes evidence of your increasing strength. Every setback becomes proof of your expanding resilience. Every disappointment becomes material for building unshakable confidence in your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. Here's how this transformation works in practice. Let's say you're a graphic designer in Portland who just lost a major client to a competitor. The old you would focus on the external loss. Less money, damaged reputation, uncertain future. But with this growing armor, you focus on the internal gain, What did this experience teach you about client communication? How can you improve your presentation skills? What backup plans do you need to develop? The same event that would have weakened others makes you stronger because you're extracting growth from every experience. Marcus Aurelius understood this principle when he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't speaking in abstract philosophical terms. He was describing a practical system for converting obstacles into opportunities for development. When barbarian tribes threatened Rome, he used the challenge to develop better military strategies. When political conspiracies emerged, he used the betrayals to refine his judgment about character. When personal tragedy struck, he used the pain to deepen his understanding of human nature. The beautiful thing about this armor is that it makes you immune to one of modern life's greatest sources of misery: comparison. When your happiness depends on daily improvement rather than relative position, other people's success becomes inspiring rather than threatening. Your former classmate's promotion doesn't diminish your worth, because your worth isn't based on external achievements. It's based on the person you're becoming through your daily choices to grow, learn, and improve. Consider this scenario. You're working as a software engineer in Seattle, and you've been coding for 2 years while your colleague who started at the same time just got promoted to team lead. The comparison-based mindset would create resentment, self-doubt, and either desperate overwork or defeated withdrawal. But the growth-based mindset asks different questions. What skills is that colleague developing that you could learn? What leadership opportunities could you create for yourself? How can you use this situation to clarify your own career goals and development plan? Seneca practiced this daily growth armor through constant self-examination and learning. He wrote, "Every day, every hour ought to be stripped of something harmful." But he wasn't just focused on eliminating bad habits. He was deliberately cultivating better ones. He read philosophy, practiced writing, engaged in difficult conversations, and challenged himself with new responsibilities. His joy came from the daily process of becoming wiser, more disciplined, and more effective. Here's how to install this growing armor in your own life. First, shift your daily scoreboard from external metrics to internal ones. Instead of measuring success by money earned, followers gained, or recognition received, measure it by skills developed, habits improved, and wisdom acquired. Did you handle today's stress better than you would have last month? Did you ask better questions in that difficult conversation? Did you make a choice based on your values rather than your impulses? Second, create a daily growth ritual. Spend 10 minutes each evening identifying one specific way you improve today. Maybe you listen more carefully during a team meeting. Perhaps you chose a healthy meal when you were stressed. Possibly you read something that expanded your perspective. This isn't about major achievements. It's about recognizing the small improvements that compound over time into extraordinary transformation. Third, reframe setbacks as data collection. When things don't go as planned, instead of asking, "Why me?" or "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" And "How does this experience make me stronger?" Your disappointed day becomes a treasure trove of information about resilience, adaptation, and personal growth. The most powerful aspect of this armor is that it's completely independent of external circumstances. Economic recessions can't touch it. Other people's opinions can't dent it. Unexpected setbacks can't weaken it. In fact, These challenges make it stronger because they provide more opportunities for growth, more chances to practice resilience, and more evidence of your ability to thrive regardless of conditions. Epictetus discovered that this daily growth armor creates a unique type of confidence. It's not the fragile confidence that comes from everything going well. It's the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can extract value and strength from anything that happens. You become genuinely unstoppable because every experience contributes to your development rather than determining your worth. Ultimately, this armor that grows stronger every day transforms you from someone who needs the world to cooperate in order to be happy into someone who becomes happier by growing stronger regardless of how the world behaves. 7. Your complete mental armor assembly guide. You're standing at your bathroom mirror on a Sunday morning in your Boston apartment, looking at someone who's fundamentally different from the person who started this journey. Over the past weeks, you've learned to build an energy shield that protects your focus, forge daily armor through powerful questions, install upgrades that stop temptation, train like a warrior during peaceful times, access the secret awareness piece most people miss, and develop armor that grows stronger with each passing day. Now it's time to assemble these individual components into a complete system that makes you genuinely unstoppable. Think of this like assembling a sophisticated piece of technology. Each component you've learned works powerfully on its own, but when properly integrated, they create something far more powerful than the sum of their parts. Your complete mental armor becomes an automated system that protects you, strengthens you, and guides you through any challenge life can present. The foundation layer remains your energy shield from the dichotomy of control. Every morning, before you check your phone or engage with any external demands, you remind yourself of Epictetus's fundamental teaching: some things are within our power, while others are not. This becomes your default filter for every decision, every reaction, and every allocation of mental resources throughout the day. When someone cuts you off in traffic during your commute to downtown Atlanta, your energy shield automatically activates, redirecting your attention from their behavior to your response. Layer 2 integrates your daily armor-forging questions into a systematic practice. These 4 questions: is this in my control? Is this essential? What's the worst-case scenario? Where did I grow today? Become your mental operating system. Instead of reacting automatically to events, you process them through this framework. When your startup faces a funding crisis, instead of panicking, you systematically work through each question, transforming potential chaos into an organized response. The 3rd layer activates your temptation-stopping upgrade through pre-decided responses to common challenges. You've identified your 3 biggest temptations and your 3 most important beneficial habits, creating automatic systems that require no willpower in the moment. When you feel the urge to scroll social media during work hours, your upgrade redirects that impulse toward a predetermined positive action like reviewing your daily priorities or taking a brief walk. Your 4th layer incorporates warrior training during peaceful times. This isn't just about handling current challenges. It's about continuously expanding your capacity to handle future ones. You practice voluntary discomfort, imagine potential difficulties, and develop response strategies during calm periods. When unexpected challenges arise, you're already mentally prepared because you've rehearsed similar scenarios during your peacetime training. The 5th layer engages your secret awareness piece, the metacognitive ability to observe your thoughts and emotions as they occur. This becomes your command center, ensuring all other armor layers work in harmony. When you notice defensive anger arising during a difficult conversation with your manager, your awareness creates space for conscious choice rather than automatic reaction. The sixth layer maintains your daily growth armor, ensuring that every experience contributes to your increasing strength rather than depleting your confidence. Whether you succeed or fail by external measures, you extract wisdom, build resilience, and compound your capabilities day by day. Here's how these layers work together in a real situation. Imagine you're a marketing director in Denver who just learned that your entire department is being restructured. Your role is being eliminated, and you have 60 days to find a new position. Most people would be overwhelmed by the uncertainty, stress, and time pressure. Your energy shield immediately activates, helping you focus on what you can control. Your response, your job search strategy, your skill development, and your networking efforts. You stop wasting energy on anger about corporate decisions or worry about economic conditions. Your daily questions systematically process the situation. Yes, your job search activities are in your control. Yes, finding new employment is essential. The worst realistic case might involve taking a temporary position or relocating to a different city. You identify specific ways to grow through this transition, viewing it as an opportunity to clarify your career goals and expand your professional network. Your temptation upgrade prevents you from falling into destructive patterns like excessive job search anxiety, comfort eating, or mindless entertainment consumption. Instead, you maintain beneficial habits like regular exercise, skill development, and relationship building that support your transition. Your warrior training proves invaluable because you've mentally rehearsed career transitions during peaceful times. You're not starting from scratch. You're implementing pre-developed strategies for professional uncertainty. Your awareness piece helps you observe and manage the stress, fear, and self-doubt that naturally arise during career transitions. Instead of being controlled by these emotions, you acknowledge them while choosing responses based on wisdom rather than impulse. Your growth armor transforms the entire experience into evidence of your increasing capability. Each networking conversation improves your communication skills. Every interview develops your ability to articulate your value. Each rejection teaches you about market conditions and helps you refine your approach. Marcus Aurelius integrated these same principles while managing an empire during plagues, wars, and political upheaval. Seneca used this system to maintain wisdom and effectiveness through the dangerous politics of Nero's court. Epictetus developed these practices while transitioning from slavery to freedom to teaching the most influential people of his time. The beautiful thing about your complete mental armor is that it becomes easier to maintain over time, not harder. Each layer reinforces the others, creating positive feedback loops that strengthen your entire system. As your energy allocation improves, your daily questions become more effective. As your self-awareness deepens, your growth extraction becomes more sophisticated. As your warrior training expands, your confidence in handling uncertainty increases. Start tomorrow morning by consciously activating each layer in sequence. Within a week, this process becomes automatic. Within a month, these layers integrate into a seamless system that operates continuously in the background, protecting and strengthening you through every challenge. Your mental armor is now complete. You're equipped with the same tools that enabled ancient Stoics to remain unshakable through the worst that life could offer. You have everything you need to become genuinely unstoppable, not because nothing bad will happen to you, but because you're prepared to transform anything that happens into material for your continued growth and strength. You now possess something that money can't buy, success can't guarantee, and circumstances can't destroy. Unbreakable mental armor forged from ancient wisdom and designed for modern challenges. Every layer we've built together, your energy shield, daily forging questions, temptation-stopping upgrade, warrior training, secret awareness piece, growing armor, and complete assembly system, transforms you from someone who hopes life will be easy into someone who knows they can handle whatever life brings. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in history while facing plagues, wars, and betrayals. Yet he remained mentally unshakable because he understood these principles. Epictetus went from slavery to freedom to teaching emperors because he mastered these practices. Seneca navigated the deadliest political environment in Rome while maintaining wisdom and effectiveness because he lived these teachings daily. These weren't just philosophers theorizing about life. They were practitioners who tested their armor in the real world under extreme pressure. Now you join their ranks. You're equipped with the same mental tools that enabled them to remain unstoppable through circumstances that would crush most people. But here's what makes your situation even more powerful. You're learning these practices during peacetime, while you have the mental space and emotional stability to install them properly. You're building armor before you desperately need it, which means when challenges come, you'll be ready. The ancient Stoics believed that philosophy wasn't meant to be studied in libraries, but lived in the arena of daily life. Your mental armor isn't complete until you start using it. Tomorrow morning, begin with your energy shield, asking yourself what's truly within your control. Throughout the day, apply your 4 forging questions to every challenge. Let your temptation upgrade protect you from destructive impulses while your awareness piece guides your responses. Continue your warrior training even when life feels comfortable, and extract growth from every experience. Remember, becoming mentally unstoppable isn't a destination you reach. It's a daily practice you commit to. Every day you choose to focus on what's controllable rather than what's convenient. Every time you forge wisdom from difficulty rather than just enduring it. Every moment you choose conscious response over automatic reaction. You're not just building mental armor, you're becoming the kind of person who inspires others to build their own. This is bigger than personal development. When you become genuinely unstoppable through these ancient practices, you give everyone around you permission to become unstoppable too. Your calm during crisis, your growth through setbacks, and your unshakable confidence in uncertainty become a lighthouse for others navigating their own storms. If this content has equipped you with tools that will serve you for a lifetime, hit that subscribe button to Stoic Vivu so you never miss wisdom that can transform your daily experience. Give this video a like if you're committed to building mental armor that makes you truly unstoppable. Share this with someone who needs to know that ancient wisdom holds the keys to modern resilience. Your mental armor is complete. Your training is finished. Your unstoppable life begins now. The ancient Stoics are cheering you on from across the centuries, and I'll be here with more practical wisdom whenever you need to strengthen your armor even further.